The Tranquility-7 Stellar Hub was a marvel of galactic engineering, a colossal orbital station that served as the primary logistical and diplomatic nexus for the multi-species concordance. Spanning hundreds of kilometers, it was a gleaming testament to interspecies cooperation, a city in space designed for peace, commerce, and the harmonious exchange of cultures. Its 7 immense towers, radiating from a central core like spokes on a wheel, housed millions of beings, from bustling markets to serene diplomatic gardens. Humans, a relatively new but influential member of the Concordance, comprised a significant portion of Tranquility-7's population, particularly within its technical and security divisions. Our species, with its chaotic history and penchant for both innovation and self-sacrifice, had earned a reputation for being indispensable in a crisis. Among them was Commander Eva Rostova, a human combat engineer, renowned for her cool head under pressure and her almost intuitive understanding of complex structural mechanics. Her team, a tight-knit unit of human and alien specialists, was stationed in Tower 7, the largest and most vital of the station's spokes, housing the primary reactor, critical data archives, and the central command nexus. Peace had reigned for centuries, but a shadow had fallen across the galaxy. The Krag Empire. A brutal, expansionist species, the Krag viewed all other civilizations as inferior. Their only goal the subjugation and assimilation of all sentient life. Their war machine was terrifyingly efficient, their tactics ruthless. The Krag had launched a surprise attack, a devastating first strike aimed directly at Tranquility-7, the heart of Concordance operations. Their objective was not just to destroy the station, but to shatter the very morale of the United Species, to demonstrate that no sanctuary was safe, no stronghold inviolable. The initial Krag assault was a brutal, overwhelming display of force. Wave after wave of their heavy cruisers hammered Tranquility-7's shields. The station, built for peace, buckled under the onslaught. Shields flickered, sections detonated, and the harmonious hum of life support systems was replaced by the klaxons of emergency alerts. Eva Rostova, from her command center deep within Tower 7, watched the tactical displays in numb horror. Sections of the station were burning, the void outside illuminated by catastrophic detonations. "Report!" she barked, her voice tight with suppressed fear. "Shields are at 17% and failing, Commander." Her ops officer, a 4-armed Xylos, named Cathar, projected frantically. "External hull breaches in Towers 1, 3, and 5. Mass casualties. Evacuation protocols initiated across the station." Then came the message that chilled Eva to her core. A direct order from Admiral Valerius, the Concordance fleet commander, his voice strained with grief. "All hands, all remaining personnel on Tranquility-7. Immediate, full evacuation. Repeat, immediate full evacuation. The station is compromised. Core containment is failing. Estimated time to catastrophic core collapse, 30 minutes. A collective gasp went through Eva's command center. 30 minutes. 30 minutes, until the entire colossal station, with its millions of trapped souls and its immensely powerful central reactor, detonated. And if it detonated, the sheer force of the explosion would rip through the entire sector, sterilizing dozens of inhabited worlds, rendering vast swaths of space uninhabitable for centuries. Millions would die, not just on the station, but across the sector. The Krag, having delivered their fatal blow, were retreating, confident in their victory, already broadcasting their triumphal declarations across Concordance channels. They expected the inevitable sector-destroying chain reaction. But Eva Rostova looked at the schematics of Tower 7, at the glowing red core containment field, at the rapidly accelerating countdown, and she saw a different path, a desperate, almost suicidal path. A forlorn hope. "Admiral Valerius," Eva transmitted, her voice cutting through the panic on the open channel. "This is Commander Rostova, Tower 7. My team is still operational, We are not evacuating. The Admiral's voice, filled with disbelief, crackled back. Commander Rostova, that is a direct order. Get your people out. You have seconds. With respect, Admiral, Eva said, her eyes fixed on the core containment. Countdown. If this station goes, the sector dies. My engineers and we have a chance, a very slim chance. We can attempt a controlled manual demolition of the primary reactor. It will collapse Tower 7, but it might just prevent a sector-wide cataclysm. A stunned silence fell across the Concordance channels. A controlled demolition of a failing star station reactor, manually? It was an act of impossible heroism, an act of almost certain self-destruction, and it was a choice that only a human could make. The Admiral's voice returned, laced with a plea. Eva, no, that's suicide. It's a 1,000,000-to-1 shot. Get out. That's an order. Negative, Admiral, Eva said, her voice firm. This is the only play. Tell the evacuation. Ships to clear the sector. We're going to buy them time. For the sector. For the Concordance. Eva turned to her team. Commander Jax, her human second-in-command, a grizzled combat engineer with a perpetually weary but determined face. Dr. Lena Petrova, a brilliant Xylos xenobiologist, caught in the central core during the attack, now assisting in engineering. Tasks, her 4 arms moving with frantic efficiency, and a dozen other humans, Xylos, Lumina, and Kronos engineers, all trapped in Tower 7. All right, listen up! Eva's voice was calm, cutting through the blaring alarms. Controlled demolition of the primary reactor. We go in, disengage the automated safeties, manually align the core conduits, and trigger a contained implosion. It's never been done before. The blast will consume Tower 7. There will be no survivors. Any questions? A young human engineer, barely out of training, his face pale with terror, stammered. But, Commander, why? We could still try to get to the escape pods. Escape pods are compromised, Jax said, his voice grim. Even if they weren't, we don't have time. And if this core blows uncontained, your families, your friends, billions across the sector, they all die. This isn't about us, son. This is about them. Dr. Petrova, the Xylos, her usually logical mind, grappling with the human concept of absolute sacrifice, projected, the probability of success for a manual core implosion is statistically negligible, Commander Rostova. The risk to individual life is 100%. This course of action, it defies all logical self-preservation protocols. Precisely, Doctor, Eva said, a grim smile on her face. But sometimes logic doesn't cut it. Sometimes you just do what's right. Now, can you get me those schematics for the primary conduit alignment, or not? The team, facing the stark reality of their final mission, began to move. Fear was a palpable presence, a cold hand on every soul. But overriding it was something else, duty, a profound, almost spiritual commitment to protect the innocent, even at the cost of their own lives. It was a uniquely human brand of heroism, a willingness to walk into the fire, not for glory, but for the faint, forlorn hope of saving others. The Concordance fleets, watching from a safe distance, were stunned. They had seen species fight bravely. They had seen them defend their homes. But they had never seen a group of individuals willingly choose total self-annihilation to save an entire sector without a single demand, without a single plea for escape. The Crag, monitoring the communications, detected the frantic activity in Tower 7. They are still there? They refuse to flee? What are these primitives doing? Their life signs are still active within the critical zone. They are attempting something illogical. They expected panic, chaos, desperate pleas for mercy. They were witnessing a calm, methodical march towards self-sacrifice. Eva's team began their perilous journey into the heart of Tower 7, towards the rapidly destabilizing primary reactor. The station was a death trap. Alarms blared, emergency lights flickered, and the very structure groaned around them. Debris showered down from above, and the deck plating pulsed with the raw, untamed energy of the failing core. Their path was treacherous. Collapsed corridors, ruptured plasma conduits, and the chilling silence of sections where life support had failed. They moved with grim determination, each step a testament to their unwavering resolve. Sector 47 is completely compromised, a human engineer, Sergeant Miller, reported, his voice tight. Rerouting through emergency maintenance shaft. Structural integrity critical. Understood, Miller, Eva responded, her voice calm, a rock in the storm. Maintain comms. We're all we've got. They encountered pockets of trapped civilians, too injured or too disoriented to evacuate. With gentle but firm resolve, Eva's team performed makeshift medical aid, cleared paths, and guided them towards the last remaining, incredibly distant escape pods. They knew these civilians might not make it, but they would give them every last chance. Go! Get out of here! Jax roared at a family of terrified Lumina, pushing them into a flickering escape tube. We're right behind you! A lie, but a necessary one, to give them hope. Dr. Petrova, the Xylos, felt a profound shift within her. Her species valued efficiency and survival above all else, but watching these humans, facing their own inevitable demise, still prioritizing. Strangers, still offering comfort, still fighting for every last life, it was a concept that shattered her entire logical framework. Commander Rostova, Petrova projected, her voice filled with a strange mix of awe and terror. This human behavior, it defies all known biological imperatives. Why do you choose this? Eva, her face grimed with sweat and dust, looked at Petrova. Because someone has to, Doctor. Because if we don't, billions die. And we can't live with that. We can't let that happen. They reached the primary reactor chamber. It was a maelstrom of raw energy, containment fields flickering, like dying stars. The air hummed with lethal radiation, and the very floor vibrated with the accelerating instability of the core. Their suit readouts screamed warnings. All right, team, Eva said, her voice barely audible above the roar of the failing reactor. This is it. Miller, you're on manual conduit alignment. Jax, you disengage the automated safeties. Petrova, can you monitor for unexpected energy surges? We get one shot at this. Their movements were precise, methodical, almost ritualistic. Each engineer, each specialist, knew their role. They worked in a silent ballet of death, their bodies glowing. Faintly from the radiation, their minds focused on the impossible task. They were the last line of defense, the forlorn hope. As Jax wrestled with the ancient, heavily shielded manual override for the automated safeties, a sudden energy surge rocked the chamber. A conduit ruptured, spewing superheated plasma. Sergeant Miller, focused on his alignment, console, was directly in its path. Miller, down! Eva screamed, but it was too late. Miller, without hesitation, threw his body over the console, shielding it from the blast, absorbing the full force of the plasma. He screamed once, a raw, primal sound, then collapsed, his suit smoldering. No! Miller! Jax roared, rushing to his side. Keep going, Jax! Miller gasped, his voice weak, his body burning. The console! Protect the console! Jax, tears streaming down his face, hesitated for only a second, then returned to the override. Miller had sacrificed himself to protect the mission, to protect the console that was vital for the implosion. It was a choice born of profound courage, a testament to the human capacity for ultimate self-sacrifice. Dr. Petrova, the Xylos, witnessed this act with a shattering realization. He chose the mission over his own life, without being ordered, for the greater good. This is the human paradox. This is what makes them formidable. The crag, still monitoring, detected the sudden energy surge. the loss of a human life sign, the continued activity within the critical zone. One of them is down. They are failing. Their efforts are futile. The station will still explode. They expected the remaining humans to break, to give up. They did not. Eva, her face grim, took over Miller's alignment console, her hands moving with frantic precision. Jax, his face a mask of grief and grim determination, finally bypassed the safeties. "Safeties disengaged, Commander!" he yelled. "Core is live!" "Petrova, status report on energy fluctuations," Eva demanded, her voice strained. "Fluctuations! Extreme, Commander! Implosion is imminent! Probability of contained? Implosion, less than 1%. Then we take that 1%, Eva declared, her voice ringing with absolute unyielding resolve. "Jax, prepare the final sequence. On my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark!" Jax slammed his fist down on the final activation button. Eva hit hers simultaneously. The reactor chamber filled with a blinding, agonizing flash of light. A deafening roar, not of explosion, but of implosion, of a universe being unmade. The core, contained for a fraction of a second, shuddered, then collapsed in on itself, drawing Tower 7 inwards down into the void. The vast, sector-sterilizing explosion never came. Tower 7, a monument to human courage, was consumed. The Tranquility-7 Stellar Hub, now a twisted, burning wreck, had been saved from a far worse fate. The sector was safe. Billions of lives were spared. From their distant ships, the Concordants watched in stunned silence. Admiral Valerius, his face etched with grief and awe, projected, "Tower 7 is gone. Commander Rostova's team. They did it. They saved us all." The Crag, observing the absence of the expected sector-wide cataclysm, were utterly baffled. The station did not explode. Their illogical actions, they prevented it. These primitives, they sacrificed themselves for others. This defies all logic. Their species. It is a threat we did not comprehend. The war against the Crag continued, but the tide had turned. The sacrifice of Eva Rostova and her team, the Forlorn Hope of Tower 7, became a rallying cry for the entire Concordance. It was a story told in every language, projected into every mind, a story of ultimate, selfless courage. The Concordance, accustomed to measuring strength in firepower and strategic advantage, had witnessed a different kind of strength. A strength born not of might, but of will. Not of logic, but of unwavering, compassionate duty. Dr. Lena Petrova, the Xylos, was among the few survivors of Tower 7 who made it out on an emergency escape pod, having been forced by Eva's orders to evacuate, minutes before the final implosion. Her mind, once so logical, was now filled with the profound, unshakable memory of human sacrifice. She spent her life after the war teaching other species about humanity, about the concept of forlorn hope, about the paradox of choosing certain death for the sake of strangers. The humans, she would often project to bewildered students, they are a species defined by their capacity for great love, and thus for great grief. And it is in that grief, that love, that they find the will to give everything for everyone. The war eventually ended. The Crag, facing a revitalized and inspired Concordance, were pushed back, their empire fractured. Humanity, once simply a useful ally, was now recognized as a vital, almost spiritual anchor for the entire galaxy. Memorials were erected across the Concordance, not just for the victims of the Crag, but specifically for the crew of Tower 7. A permanent holographic monument was placed in the reconstructed Tranquility-7 Stellar Hub, depicting Eva Rostova, Commander Jax, Sergeant Miller, and their team, their faces etched with determination, eternally moving towards the glowing core. It was a testament to the profound truth that sometimes the most desperate, illogical act of self-sacrifice could be the most powerful, most inspiring force in the universe. It was a constant reminder that humanity's strength lay not in its ability to avoid death, but in its unwavering willingness to face it for the sake of others. The legacy of Tower 7 was not just the countless lives saved. It was the shift in galactic consciousness, the understanding that true heroism often wore the face of an ordinary engineer, quietly choosing the unthinkable. It was the understanding that hope, sometimes, was a forlorn hope, clinging to a 1% chance for billions unknown. The story of Eva Rostova and her team became a legend, an eternal echo of the human spirit. It was a profound, galaxy-spanning testament to the fact that when faced with unimaginable destruction, humanity's answer would always be a defiant, selfless, and unwavering act of love. A promise that we would always fight for the sector, for the concordance for each other, even if it meant our own final glorious implosion. The forlorn hope of Tower 7 became humanity's enduring beacon, shining brightest in the darkest night.